Alright, so this is a suggestion via Patreon. The name of the video is Mayan Ancient Alien Contact Exposed. Guys, I'm a skeptic, but let's go ahead and check it out. Let's see what this is about. We're going to jump into this immediately. You know, if it's cap, it's cap. Let's get it.
Here at Mystery History, we cover the unexplained areas of antiquity, either ignored, avoided, dismissed, or simply given an incomplete or often illogical historical lifeline of existence by mainstream academia, particularly those which we have covered of significant size, quarried from many miles away, now often immovable, and once transported and either erected or placed atop one another seemingly effortlessly. We were, in a past series of
All right. Okay. I'm going to point this out. I can't explain that. Guys, right? I mean, I have no idea how the ancients were able to move all these absolutely gigantic stones that we really cannot without any massive machinery. How do they do it? That's a good question.
Investigations looking into an interesting quarry within the Bazda cave system on the edge of Turkey, a place with particularly good granite and a proven source of stone for numerous megalithic sites many miles around. Later proven by us via the preserved linkages in tool marks to have been used by more than one group, as if they had coalesced at this particular site. Yet, as mentioned, we have long argued that not just one
that's definitely tooling.
Advanced civilization capable of moving and cutting these incredibly monumental megalithic stones have been and gone, and we feel we have and continue to provide sufficient proof of these claims. The Colossi of Memnon, said to have once sang at sunrise, are both made of stones thousands of tons in weight, yet are eroding to dust along with countless others, yet clearly once precisely cut, just like all the other stone ruins we cover worldwide. Yet, sites like Petra and the polygonal casing stones found in some most curious of places, such as the pyramids of Egypt, preserving stones in a similar condition to the colossi. Certain stone monuments of gigantic size, found and stored in near...
Let's go ahead and make it larger, guys, for you guys. Listen, as of right now, it's kind of like... if we're just going to be talking about like moving gigantic stones, I cannot explain it. And I don't know if I would just say aliens, but, definitely some type of tooling was used. That's an obvious. They had, maybe lifting devices. Guys, I can't explain it.
Perfect condition are found in these same areas, as if somehow spared catastrophe. Does this prove a sudden great flood? They regardless, we claim, prove several cycles of activity at stone-cutting creation. Were some monuments submerged and therefore preserved under the sediments, like those secretly removed from the pyramids and Sphinx during initial investigations? Were they attacked by a geological event? The perfect preservation of some of these statues must eliminate sandwear as a possibility. The pursuit to the answers to these questions become closer, and we feel highly compelling. There are many baffling, anomalous artist depictions that litter the megaliths all over the rainforests which now submerge the super-civilization or mega-metropolis which was once known as the Mayans. Pekal's tomb and the strange rocket designs we have shared before, location now unknown, the seal seemingly showing
the astronaut
a craft of
that was
ancient high technology,
made out of stone.
indeed,
also
not to
odd.
mention his choice to have a vivid green death mask. All mere coincidence? Even the stolen plaque, fortunately photographed before its mysterious theft, depicting a doomsday event. Volcanic eruptions in the background, with drowning natives, which accompanied a mass submersion found and subsequently stolen from Tikal. Mere coincidence? Yet, with all these compelling pieces of evidence, all these artistic accounts, whether through cover-up or lack of discovery and accurate artistically created depiction, of this event of a peaceful trade via ancient alien contact, what the argument needed to become unarguable may have just been discovered deep in the Mayan rainforests. Accurate depictions created in brittle,
Yeah, guys, I'm almost positive there's a lot in the rainforest we have not seen. And that's just real. There's probably a lot of like historical, like evidence of historical stuff that we have not even encountered, maybe even underground in some places, guys. Maybe even one of the uncontacted tribes may have some information, but of course we're not going to contact them and get that information and literally ruin their lives with our nonsense.
Yet precious jade tablets of considerable proportions, artistic interpretations of these events, and the giving of gifts actually once occurring. A statement released by Julia Levy, the Minister of Tourism for the Mexican state of Campeche, Luis Augusto Garcia Rosado, the highest-ranking government official to go on record confirming the discovery of this possible extraterrestrial life, said, quote, Guatemala, like Mexico, home to the ancient yet advanced Mayan civilization, has also kept certain provocative archaeological discoveries classified, and now believes that it is time to bring forth this information. Rosado spoke of contact, quote, between the Mayans and extraterrestrials, supported by translations of certain codices which the government has kept secure in underground vaults for some time.
I mean, if this is real, it's suspect, right? Just period. If this is like a real thing right here, it's troubling.
In a telephone conversation with the rap, he also spoke of, quote, landing pads in the jungle that are 3,000 years old, end quote.
Landing pads.
There are many ancient stories derived from religious texts, which, when taken literally...
Well, here's the thing, guys. Like, there are a couple of things that are troubling to me, mainly in this region. The Mayans built pyramids. Egypt built pyramids. Native Americans built mounds, right? And the people in Iberia built dolmens. While also... the Japanese built sarcophaguses and Egypt built sarcophaguses with no contact. There's a couple of things that are troubling, like why are you building like identical things? Keep in mind the Japanese sarcophagus and the Egyptian sarcophagus are almost identical, guys. Like if you were to put them side by side, I'm not sure you'd be able to figure this out, guys.
Are simply illogical.
So that's an interesting
easily disproven
aspect.
As that of a symbolic nature, rather than literal documentation of true events. However, there are a rare few contested as literal truth, and a handful of these for good reason. The conviction is that these events left such a lasting impression on the creators of these texts and ancient scrolls that they included them within their writings. One of these being that of the so-called legend of the Tower of Babel. Once
I wouldn't call it a legend, guys.
declared as a symbol
Not
of
this very
oppression,
specific thing.
it is now argued by many as simply being merely another symbolic myth, such as many other stories.
Okay, now, do I think it looked exactly as it's kind of depicted? No. Did it exist? I'm almost positive.
Found within religious writings. However, there are numerous details which cannot escape the microscope of some investigators. And now that a brick has been found, legitimately dated to this time, and commissioned by the same claimed king, the argument for the actual past existence of this incredible structure has gained traction within even the most skeptical academic mind. A brick, stamped with the seal of the ancient Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar II, biblically stated as the man who commissioned the construction of the tower itself, has been discovered. Dr. Irving Finkel of the British Museum said, quote, "When you look at the early chapters of the Bible, it is clear that some of it is drawn from the Judeans' own records. It incorporates narratives which they must have encountered for the first time in Babylon, some so powerful and striking that the authors who worked on the Hebrew texts incorporated them to tell their own story."
Like, the thing about the religion aspect of it, a lot of people talk about the Great Flood. So there's nothing in the world that tells me that the Great Flood didn't exist, because a lot of people, I don't know, maybe it was a tsunami. I think that like North Africa, Northwest Africa specifically, got hit pretty hard there, guys. That desert wasn't always a desert. Okay, so that's a knowledge that I know, at least. Could be wrong here, but yeah. So I don't doubt the concept of the Great Flood at all, because it's just been documented by everyone for the most part on the globe. Now, in terms of like bits and pieces of the Christian faith coming from potentially the Torah, I think this is where he's going, the Torah. It was also used in Islam. So, yeah, like Jesus was a prophet in Islam.
He continued, "In the book of Genesis, what we have here is a brick which fits exactly into that specific context. There can be no doubt that the stimulus for the story and the narrative must have taken shape during the Babylonian exile. The evidence could help to prove the existence of the Tower of Babel, its story written by a desperate population in exile held captive by a ruthless king." End quote. Yet, as always, regardless of the corroborating evidence, it will, like the many other details and aspects of the claimed tower, continue to encounter dismissal.
Bro, you're pointing at something in this photo, and I have no idea what you're pointing at. We definitely need like an explanation. I think they said butamin or something like that, guys. What is that? Enlighten me. I think I'm absolutely ignorant to whatever that is. But also, guys, if you ever get a chance to actually go to Babylon, do that. It's interesting. I mean, it's obviously in ruins, right? But it's worth the trip. It's solid. I would say definitely get a solid fixer, right? Stay in stay in Baghdad. Absolutely stay in Baghdad if you go, though. All right.
So by many,
don't go at
with even those who are convinced of its past existence, in disagreement over its original location. Logic would suggest that if built, it was within ancient Babylonia, some 500 miles from Jerusalem.
Right.
Yet,
because I would speculate that the Tower of Babel was inside of Babylon. If you go inside the ruined walls of Babylon, you'll instantly see there's a gigantic like place that could have been the Tower of Babylon. This is probably a better depiction of what it looked like, but definitely not that high. It was probably like 3-4 stories, but keep in mind, this long ago, 3-4 stories was absolutely gigantic, but it definitely was not reaching the clouds.
But some argue it was actually built somewhere else within the Middle East. Regardless of these disagreements, we find the brick, its still intact mortar, Dr. Finkel's quotations, and indeed its intriguing seal, highly compelling. Polygonal masonry is undoubtedly a top trump argument, along with tool mark patterning, and indeed pyramidal and other structural forms which can be found across the globe, which prove there was not only once an ocean-going ancient civilization, but a worldwide, highly advanced superpower who once dominated the Earth. The proof is there for all to see. Yet en masse, how they incorporate these proofs into their critical decision-making faculties is still up for debate. Yet regardless, this proof of their past capabilities are still on display the world over, a duly awarded testament to their building prowess. Although many have attempted to explain these stones, some claiming they are of artificial or geopolymer origins, others claim they are somehow a reformed rock, from a plaster of Paris-type constituent of the original stone itself.
Exactly. Like, I would think that they were just cut into very small pieces and put together. If it didn't fit, they would just basically sand it down and cut it and then move it. Some of these rocks are probably 500, 600, 700 pounds, right, by looking at them. I don't know how they did that, but again, they had tools, right? They obviously had tools. I wouldn't say amazing tools, but they did what they could do they with what they had, let's say. And I can look at it and tell you that they're probably just shaving the rocks down.
Some even claim a plant was responsible. Any definitive answer as to how these stones were shaped and placed, or indeed any recreation of these claims.
No.
A lost technology from a now lost, yet once highly advanced ancient civilization. Cusco, which translates as the city of the Puma, holds some of the most exquisite and best preserved polygonal masonry to be found anywhere. Home to the famous 12-sided stone, Something which many are not aware of, however, is that it is also home to dozens of carvings and structures which were intended as artistic masonry renditions of animals, one of which, namely the puma. Academic hypothesis suggests that these creations were built by the Inca to once form the boundary walls of an ancient temple. Yet, like the countless other areas we explore here on our channel, any explanation as to how the walls were constructed, or indeed why pumas and other animals were incorporated into this enigmatic stonework, is absent from all and any academically accepted historical description.
I mean, yeah, would academics just instantly say, this is because of this? Probably not, no. But, like, here's the thing, guys. I do think that if they're animal-based, then they're probably represented what they thought represented a, like, strength or something, right? I mean, or they had, like, animal gods, potentially. It could be. I mean, listen, they were different, right?
Of their origin. We feel that these structures were built for a reason, even stretching as far as Egypt, present as casing stones on the pyramids of Egypt themselves. They wanted future man to witness this stonework, built to last and to remain immovable. It is as if they were trying to tell us something about their existence, and indeed the true history and perhaps future fate of mankind. We find Cusco's Puma, and indeed the lost knowledge itself, highly compelling. The legend of an underworld, or the inner earth, have abound historical literature and ancient belief systems, with some more serious believers in this theory who, although with nefarious intention, spent considerable funds in the pursuit of the gateway to this realm. Archaeological documentation of its existence is found throughout the ages, seemingly adding validity. No matter how hard to believe, it persuaded said group's greatest minds into the pursuit of its existence. Within antiquity, specifically Greek, ancient Egyptian belief systems, a gateway to an underworld was at the time commonly associated with a passageway into hell and the passage through. Representative of these acts include Hades, Osiris, Anubis, etc., with the Greeks even creating necropolises, claiming gateways were often located at the meeting of three rivers.
I can see all
Journey
that,
through the underworld. With the Egyptian scripture, we feel not only being the most elaborately constructed, but by that measure the most intriguing to explore.
Hades, Osiris.
Throughout the underworld journey, the traveler contended with strange beings and gatekeepers, with Osiris found within the Hall of Final Judgment. Here, the plea of case for entry into the afterlife. The Final Judgment involved a two-part process. Standing before the 42 divine judges. Here they stood before 42 divine judges and pleaded their innocence of any wrongdoing during their lifetime. Part 2. The weighing of the heart ceremony. The heart, which contained a record of all the deceased's actions in life, was weighed against the feather of the goddess Ma'at. This feather was the symbol for truth and justice.
Ma'at.
Goddess Ma'at. This feather was the symbol for truth and justice, and helped determine whether the deceased person had indeed been virtuous. The afterlife. Known as life in the field of rushes, a reflection of the real world perfected. Blue skies, rivers, and boats for travel, gods and goddesses to worship, and fields and crops to be plowed and harvested. The dead were granted a plot of land in the field of rushes and were expected to maintain it. However, other theories arose over the years, these far more commonly connected to the posit of inner Earth theory, with portal into the center of our planet, one in which advanced beings dwell.
Right.
Probably the most famous of ventures and eventual retreats who attempted to find this portal within Antarctica. Curiously, now not only believed by the Americans, but also the Nazis as the location of the portal, reportedly encountered craft of incredibly advanced capabilities. But there were also other attempts, more covert, only partly declassified over the years, showing an intense interest in this same area by the Third Reich, who, while in power during the Second World War, initiating a number of expeditions whose results still remain closely guarded secrets. Many have died or mysteriously vanished without a trace, looking for this elusive portal's validity, now believed to be positioned in one of the most inhospitable geographical locations on Earth. Yet its belief throughout history is undeniable,
right?
And as such,
like they've been looking for this thing for a really long time, guys. I don't know, it could be, but I doubt it, right? I mean, is there like a city underground somewhere? Like, do we have access to the inside of the planet, guys? I doubt it. I don't know why you would want to. It's hot. It'll be really hot, guys.
We find highly
no
compelling.
Air. I guess it would probably have to be aliens, right? If anything, living down there with no air. All right, guys, listen. Definitely a lot of new information. Learned a lot here. I like the concept of these type of videos. So if you guys actually want me to continue watching, a good amount of these, just let me know, and we will continue these. Probably do one every day. If you guys actually enjoy it, right? Listen, let me know in the comments, though, the next type of thing like this I should be checking out, and I will get into that as soon as I can, all right? Listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day and enjoy your day thoroughly.